And we are live. Welcome to Reinventing the Tattoo channel. We are beaming out through the Reinventing the Tattoo app that you can find on the stores, either of the app stores, or you go to community.reinventingthetattoo.com. This is the hashtag Reinventing Drawing Group hosted by Jason Leeser and Guy Aitchison's joining with us today. And yeah, as this is a great time to let us know in the chat room if this is working, if the sound's working, and share it around to your friends. We have this going out on Facebooks and on YouTube's, and I'm going to just double check here while we're talking to make sure. Yep, this is going out on YouTube 1, YouTube 2, and then all of the Facebooks. We want to thank the tattoos.com Facebook is always pretty active, and then the Tattoo Education Facebook, Hyperspace Facebook, it's all over the Facebooks. But you can always find the replays at the Reinventing the Tattoo app. And speaking of replays and such, I'm going to share the screen here, which means you can get a preview of what the app and the community looks like. And as I talk about the different events, they're right here in front of us. This is the 1 o'clock drawing group that happens every Sunday with Jason. Every Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning with Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Networks. We do another Monday morning drawing group. It's pretty awesome. It is actually a great way to start off Monday mornings. I have to get my walk in early so that I can get it all started. And we also end it kind of on time so that we could all, whoever needs to go exercise after. 9 o'clock Eastern. Then on Monday night, Art Night with Renee Little is going to happen. And this starts this Monday at 7 p.m., 7 to 9. And you can beam in. She's doing an art night from her tattoo shop in Oklahoma City. And it's a great prep for the Reinventing the Tattoo subscribers only exercises, which happen every Monday night at 9 o'clock. So that's if you're a paying subscriber to Reinventing, Guy leads or with guests will lead everyone through group exercises every week. They build off of each other. They're themed. They're intentional. You just can't get like videos on YouTube or anywhere and experience this kind of stuff. So that's Monday night at 9 o'clock, every Monday at 9 o'clock in the subscribers channel. Then Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern, we have Tattoo Machine Madness. Haha, we might change the name, but we will be doing Tattoo Machine discussion panels. We have Tony Urbanik, Carson Hill, Greg I can't pronounce his name, Dave from Veritas Irons, and maybe a couple surprise guests. So they will all be talking Tattoo Machines, 1 o'clock Eastern. Definitely go to the schedule and click the RSVP. Let us know you're coming. Every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern, the Tattoo Collecting Podcast is beaming out, where Jordan Rukas and Fawn Baker chat tattoo collecting. And they beam in with collectors from all around the world. Sometimes they have people there that they've been safe with or quarantined with. And yeah, it's a pretty awesome podcast. It happens every Thursday at noon live. Okay, well, and again, a lot of these drawing groups happen every week. Here we go. Tony Urbanik is doing a Paul Rogers style prefab machine building workshop. So this is $300, but it is 8 2-hour live webinars building a tattoo machine from pieces parts. He gives you an ingredient list that you could find around your workshop or scavenge together. There is also a kit of parts that you can get where he can mail them to you if it gets tight on time. But the point is, you will be building it from hand with hand tools. And yeah, you could check out, let's see, it's reinventingthetattoo.com/build a tattoo machine is the quick link over there. Also, starting on January 12th, we have a series of art jams and interviews that will be happening in Espanol, in Spanish. Sorry, my pronunciation is always horrible, but we are ecstatic to have some Spanish programming. Bruno, who's on the Reinventing app, Bruno, do a search for him, who will be hosting a Spanish art jam, 9 o'clock Eastern, January 12th. History of Tattoo Conventions with Marco Leone, and he's one of the first, if not the first, Italian tattoo convention promoter. Those interviews, the history of tattoo conventions, are happening with World Tattoo Events lead promoter, leader, man in charge of World Tattoo events, Alex Van Dutch. Live in the Castro, 8 o'clock. Oh, holy moly. Well, I keep going on forever. I'm going to make sure everything's working, but you get the point. If you go to the Reinventing the Tattoo app community and check out the event schedule, it is jam-packed full of tons of amazing streams, and they are free thanks to our sponsors. That would be inkjetstencils.com, Cheyenne Tattoo Equipment, Reinventing the Tattoo, Tattoo Education, GuyHSN.com. Okay, I'm going to pass it off to Jason and Guy, and I will only be back to chat when people ask questions in the chat room. Or if I'm needed to beam around, I could also fire up a web browser and find anything we need. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Gabe. And thank you to Cheyenne and Inkjet Stencils. We're using a bunch of different technologies together in order to make this app work. It's pretty amazing, this 21st century stuff, and we figured every other industry is doing it, not doing it very well. So we figured we'd use all of our collective experience with webcasts, which Gabe and I and our associates have done tons and tons of webcasts through the years. Back when it used to be hard, you had to have a team, and the stream would keep quitting on you every 5 minutes. It was actually some kind of a technical achievement. Like, I just webcasted. Today's kids, they'll just never know. Right. Yeah, it only dropped out 2 or 3 times.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, and the bills. I remember the bills.
Oh, yeah. Holy cow, yeah. That was the other thing.
I was just looking at the Russ, some of the collaborations that you did, and as we're moving them over to the new website, and there's the one you did with Jeff, and I remember that we got so many people watching. It was amazing, and then like 3 weeks later, we got the bill, and we were like, "Oh, we're supposed to get sponsors before the event, not after."
Yeah. Well, hindsight is 2020. Lots of things are 2020.
2020 was last year.
We'll never be able to say 2020 the same way, right?
Absolutely. You know, my addition to that saying that I've picked up over the last couple of years is, hindsight is 2020, but no one told me that you could turn around, look forward.
Yeah.
It's a good way to be. It's a good philosophy.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't even know which direction is forward, though, because things are moving so fast and in so many apparently different directions. It can be tricky to disorienting. Yes. So sometimes you just have to take the bull by the horns and make your own technology or whatever, and hope that other people are feeling the same way. So Jason, are you pretty much done with your project, your elemental thing?
For this draft, yes, I still have to work on pushing and pulling some of the lights and darks.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Trying to get a little bit more contrast in it, but for the most part, I've got, I'm pretty sure I've got all the elements in there, and they're all fairly cohesive and integrated fairly well. It was really a struggle for me to go through on this project, to go through and try to incorporate all 4 elements into one solid, cohesive, kind of project. Yeah. It was a struggle. It was a real struggle to make everything work well together, integrate all of the different aspects of it, and really try to push the amount of, just technical ability that I'm putting into it. Yeah, I think I've got how much time do I have? So on this draft of this version, I have about 10 hours into it.
Yeah. Yep, I can believe you.
Just one draft. Out of all of the different drafts that I did, the one prior to that was probably another 6 hours, and the one prior to that was, I think, another 5 on top of that. Obviously this one's the one that, I decided to go with, and it's the one that's done in color. So that's going to take a little bit longer, but it was challenging to say the least, and to try to get everything to be cohesive as far as, just the style of it, the genre, trying to have, these Japanese waveforms, which traditionally have pretty decent line weights to them, and then incorporating other aspects that may have no lines, other aspects that may have colored lines, other aspects that, are almost pure texture. Some have bolder lines, but trying to get all of that put together correctly, that's what was really throwing me off.
Yep. Yep. I could see all that. And I think that what's happening with mine is, um, in order to address every single aspect of it like that, there's just no way I could do all of it, right? So I've just been focusing really on just trying to make the composition nice. I think I'm going to end up just not using any line weight on any of it, just to keep it simple. And the cohesiveness, I'm hoping that color will help to separate the different elements better, but I'm trying to make it succeed, without that, right?
Right.
But making it feel like one overall movement, not be chaotic. That definitely has been challenging. Like for instance, I added this little stone arch down here because I really wanted to have more interaction between the water and the rock. But I feel like in the course of doing that, I lost some of one of the only simpler areas in the entire design, which was down here at the bottom. But at the same time, it just it also looked almost oversimple compared to other parts of it. So I felt like something had to happen with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the way that's coming together.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's hard for me to judge. I just see the challenges, and I'm gonna do some color this session. I think it's time for me to move into that, and I think I'll have a better idea. And yeah, by tomorrow night, hopefully, it'll be something that I can feel is finished. I've decided not to paint it, partly because I got involved in that Strata easel challenge, which I'm excited about. But that's definitely going to use most of my easel time this month. And what that is,
The person who's hosting it invent the Strata easel?
I don't know if Brian Mark Taylor is actually hosting it. I think he might be the inventor of that easel, but he's certainly he's the artist that I knew of that I just discovered this easel challenge because of, and that's where Mom found it also. So yeah, the idea behind this challenge is they're telling people they can use any medium, including digital, but no photo references and nothing straight from the imagination. That it's all working from life.
Okay.
It could be still lifes or landscapes, or if you actually can get somebody to sit still, a portrait or figure, whatever. But the idea being that it's all from life. And so I'm working on lighting challenges. I'm working on reflective papers and things like that. And I'll probably be focusing on lighting most of the month while we're doing it. And eventually I'm wanting to bring it back in and create a series of lighting exercises. I like this, having series of exercises, right? Like I'd suggested, after this one's over with, we're going to have a series of depth exercises, because I can think of at least 5 or 6 different things that we could work on. And then at the end of that, we bring it all together and have a single image that we're going to put all the depth into, use every trick together. So yeah, there's lots of different places that these multi-day, like, month and a half long series of exercises could go. And
Yeah, I really like being able to stick to the same theme for a little while. I mean, I've never been, the quickest learner. I mean, I get there eventually, don't get me wrong, but, sometimes for me, repetition is everything. So to go through and work on something for multiple weeks at a shot, and really hammer home and just get that muscle memory down where I'm really memorizing, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And if I need to have it look like this, I can go here and do that. You know, I need to focus on this if I want this kind of an effect in this area. Like that really, really helps me personally. So for me, it's been an absolute blessing to have something that lasts multiple weeks that I can really cover and that I can really look at to just hammer it home.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why with the easel challenge, I'm not going to just paint something different every day. I think I'm going to circle back to some of the same references, every few days. I used a scrunched up piece of gold paper. It was a very Chris Hall kind of move. And I really enjoyed doing it. And I felt like I got about 80% of the character of it. There's a lighting issue that I'm not able to nail. And so I'm setting some very specific goals for myself for this month with the easel challenge, and that particular lighting issue, and being able to get it alla prima without having to let it dry and glaze over it. That's part of my objective. So just trying to be very intentional like that. But anyway, tomorrow night when we meet and look at all of our exercises, you may have already seen the announcement, but I'm asking everyone who's done the exercises to also submit some of their current tattoo work. And so we're gonna do an overall critique, and people who haven't done the exercises, who just joined or whatever, I mean, they're still welcome to submit for critique as well. It's just going to be a more interesting critique, I think, for the people who've done this exercise, because we'll be able to talk more specifically about goals and things like that.
I think that would definitely add a nicer layer to it. Ooh, I'm gonna have to dig through all of my photos that I've taken.
But by the end of the evening, the idea is that everyone who's there is going to have 3 specific new goals. Maybe not new goals, but articulate 3 goals, and then figure out ways of leveraging these exercises we're doing in order to work towards those goals.
I wonder how that's going to, I mean, for me personally, I wonder how that's going to differ from the goals that I currently already have set.
Well, I'm going to want to hear what those are. While we're reviewing your work, I'm definitely going to want to hear what your current goals are. And I think that I've been talking about goals with the group enough that hopefully everyone's got some kind of at least vague idea of what they want to work on and that kind of thing. But the idea is to emerge from this with something that each of us can work on this year, or this first few months of the year, and be able to review our goals every few months, every quarter or so, kind of come back to those. And I know it's tricky because we don't have an enrollment date. We have people just kind of coming in when they come in. So that's why we just have to do these things sort of regularly. Just, whoever is really down with the program and showing up for the exercises can then, be part of these critiques and these sessions of establishing goals. I've had a couple of moments where I can clearly remember, like this one time I was tattooing this guy from Texas, just done this forearm sleeve on him. And, I was doing a lot of fairly large work on this guy. And he was a circus freak show guy. That was one of his jobs, among, other things. He was a body piercer. But the stuff I was doing on him was pretty cartoony, and it was fun, right? But I remember finishing a piece and walking him out to the curb where the cab was waiting, and seeing him off, and then getting this clear flash in my mind's eye of the same piece, but not like the same kind of cartoony Chicago early 1990s rendering, right? I got this completely different flash of something that had more selective line usage and a much more subtle use of shading, and value being used more deliberately to establish shapes and that kind of thing. And I remember seeing that flash and thinking, okay, I can do this. I got to do this, right? And it became a goal. And it took me a couple solid years of deliberately thinking about that goal, remembering that flash that I had in my head. Because what I had from that experience was two things. I had the actual tattoo that I just done, and I had the mental picture of the way I would do it if I could, right? And I could kind of hold those up mentally next to each other and say, okay, I see the difference, and I think I got an idea of what it would take to push it from there to here. So yeah, that kind of got me in the habit of telling myself, specifically what my goals are, and trying to be deliberate about like that. So right now, a lot of the time, it's just about, there's lots of goals, but the prevalent one is optimizing my use of value, being very selective about it, very strong about it, having some extremely dark areas, extremely light areas, having it all work and be harmonious. There's a lot of aspects to it, but being selective about it in the right ways.
Yeah, selective use of light and contrast has always been something that I try to maximize as often as I can. Whether that's through line weight, whether that's through, because I do a lot of tattoos that have a lot of varying line weight. Yeah, I've just always been drawn to designs that are very line conscious. I think that might actually stem from one of my art teachers back in high school that really emphasized that. And we used to do contour line drawings all the time, just basically as warm-ups. And we would have one of the students in the class come up to the front of the class, and they would strike a pose, and we would have 3 minutes to do a very simple contour line drawing of whoever it was that day that was standing in the front of the class. To me, that really kind of just started setting things in motion, and I just became drawn to some of these contour line drawings that I saw, and just how some people can use line in general to create a sense of depth and perspective where there's not really any value, there's not really any shading, there's no color to it. It's literally just a line drawing, but they still create such a vivid sense of depth and texture just from their use of line. It fascinated me, and it's something that's just really kind of consumed a lot of different aspects of art that I do, even to this day.
Did I ever tell you about that guy, Alfonso Dunn? It might just be Alphonse Dunn.
So.
Okay. He's for lack of a better description, he's a crosshatcher.
Okay.
And he'll draw things like hands, eyes, facial features, and the finished drawing, it looks deliberately unfinished. He'll really focus in on one part, and other parts of it are just left lines. But his captions are wonderful. His descriptions of his thinking process and how he uses the direction of each line in order to, it's a combination of cross-hatching and contour line. I think, is Gabe trying to find Alphonse Dunn right now?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. ALPHONSEDUNN.
Got the website up now. Pen and ink drawings.
I'm just seeing this never miss an update thing. Okay, yeah. Alfonso Dunn, that's him. Yeah. So I don't know if he's going to have the same. Wow, I've never seen these. I've always just seen his Instagram stuff. But yeah, I don't know if you can get close in enough on these to really appreciate. But yeah, his captions on his Instagram feed are very educational. Let me just put it that way. They're very thoughtful, and clearly he's got to put a lot of intention behind what he's doing. So yeah, highly recommend. Yeah, like that hand, boom,
Man.
And if you get in real close, you'll see it's all just lines and contour lines. And, a lot of exaggeration, but yeah, I recommend this guy just on the strength of his captions, obviously on the drawings too.
A lot of that stuff looks like some of the etchings that I did while I was in college. A lot of copper
Yeah.
plate etchings and a lot of dry point, where you're literally just going through and you're creating texture, you're creating movement, but you have to scratch away each individual little notch to create that. Oh, it creates almost like a burr or a ridge on the copper plate that you're going to be printing.
Yeah.
And you can create some phenomenal textures with just how much you buff an area to make it silky smooth, or how deep your gouge is, how much of a burr that creates. You see a lot of that from some of the Rembrandt prints that are still out there, that were originally done on copper plate using dry point or some type of an etching. And it's just amazing how well they hold up over time. But I mean, look at guys like Albrecht Stewart, famous for his hands praying, which I don't know of a whole lot of tattooers out there that have never tattooed that. But when you look
Right.
at the original etching and you look at all of the tiny little minute details and the way that he was able to create that skin texture, it purely just using lines, like that blew my mind. So it's little stuff like that that I just find myself completely drawn to. And then from there, I got into hand engravers and started looking at some of the stuff that they can do for more ornamental type things. And that was just another world of, wow, these guys are doing nothing but line. And they're creating such an incredibly intricate flow and movement in whatever it is they're engraving. You get a couple of guys out there like Sam Alfonso, who's a master engraver. And this guy actually has an entire course on how he designs his engraver's scroll work and the different techniques that he can use in order to achieve a specific effect. And it's using nothing but line. It's to me, it's just mind blowing how guys can create such value and depth when it's just all one tone, but they're varying the size and shape and the direction of where they're putting those lines.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've seen Doré's Divine Comedy illustrations. And the thing that's interesting is those were each was engraved by somebody different. The Doré did the compositions, but then he handed them over to his engravers. And from one illustration to the next, they have an entirely different feel, right? Even though they were all from the same artist's hand. But yeah, the one engraver, Panamaker, I think was the name, got all the values. I mean, the full value range is there. And again, it's just lines, right? Where others, they're barely line drawings. I mean, very nicely drawn, but the value, the ability to navigate that whole range in order to create that mood is not something that everybody's capable of, even in the higher circles. Like I'm sure he was hiring the best engravers he could find. So I'm curious to know if there's anyone else who is working on the Elemental project who is tuned in right now. And if so, you're welcome to join the conversation here.
Okay, well, let's go through the chat room here. We've got T-Von says, hello, everyone.
Hey, Tavon.
Melissa Sink says, morning all. Chris All says, hello, all. Matt Jackson says, hey, guys, I plan to hop on, but our house is a little loud right now. T-Von says, I think both of your guys' concepts look great. I feel this exercise was generally a challenge for everyone. It's been a challenge for me anyways, says T-Von. And let's see. Yeah, and if you are watching, let us know in the chat rooms where you're beaming in from, because we'd love to know. Let's see here. I've got some Facebook people here too. Okay. Let's see. Kim Baldwin says, hi, guys. Oh, that's the tattoos.com. I was like, wait a minute. I know that there's one going crazy in the Guy Aitchison Facebook. We've got Danny Pullen says, Guy, I love your work from the UK. He also asks, what advice can you give to drawing bioorganic?
Well, if you don't already have a copy of the Biomech Encyclopedia, that is the first piece of advice I'd give you, is to pick that up and read all the text, because there's a lot of thinking in there. The other piece of advice I have is to find stuff that is not art that you can use as reference. Whether it be, like down the street from here, there's a guy that collects old tractors, and, I'd love to go with a camera into his yard and just on a nicely lit day photograph some of these rusted tractor engines up close, vines growing on them. Find some good references like that. These simple things, rocks and pieces of slag from the railroad, anything that you like the texture of. Like my daughter, she just gave me for Christmas a beautiful collection of found objects that she thought I could relate to. And this included, rocks and, like I was saying, a piece of slag from the railroad, really cool, like dripping iron oxide stuff. And so the ones that I'm going to use as art pieces, I'm going to, either draw from life or take photos of in very specific lighting. But I spend a lot of time doing these kinds of projects where I'm looking at looking at real life objects that I find inspiring and beautiful, and drawing them and trying to absorb whatever I can from them. It can't all just come from the imagination, and you definitely don't want too much of it to come from looking at other people's art. You want to go straight to the source when you can, and use that opportunity to expand your vocabulary, your language, so that you have shapes and twists and turns to your work that you don't see in other people's. That's if you're wanting to do bio, that's what's going to cause people to come to you and get your bio is your specific unique twist. So you're going to have the most luck finding something like that outside of tattooing, outside of established art. Just get out there and look for references that you think are cool, and work with those, interpret them, translate them, make them yours.
Awesome. Okay, so let's see. We got another question here from Evelyn. What kind of tablets are you guys using?
So I
Jason,
myself, I'm on an iPad Pro 12.9 inch. It's one of the latest versions. Before that, I was working on an 11-inch iPad Pro from last year. I've had the opportunity to work on all different types of drawing tablets, both in my life now as a tattooer, but also in my previous life when I was working another full-time job. Part of what I did was basically field testing technology. So I would get some of the new, back when Toshiba first came out with one of their multi-touch screen laptops. I would go through and I would field test it, and I would use it day in and day out for everything, and just try to get a bearing on, okay, is this going to be a viable solution for, say, faculty in higher education to take notes? Is it going to be a viable solution for students to take notes on during class? You know, what applications could this be good for? How accurate is the pen touch sensor? You know, how does it fare when compared to other devices? So I've used tablet laptops, I've used Windows-based stuff, I've used Mac-based stuff. Wacom's always been, you know, the leading edge on touch technology, and they have been for I think 20 some odd years. And their stuff's amazing. I'm not really a big fan of their portable tablets. I love their larger scale Cintiqs, but I find that their portable tablets are just a little bit more lacking. Not necessarily in their touch capability, but in their processing power, their response rate. And I've always been drawn more towards the Mac OS as opposed to Windows. So I usually tend to gear what I use in that kind of a realm. Love the new iPads. I think they're super fast, super sensitive. They're doing everything I could ever dream of. Plus, you find a lot of people out there that are really starting to utilize the program Procreate for the iPad. And there are people out there doing unbelievably incredible things with Procreate right now. You know, I haven't even really scratched the surface compared to what some people are doing. I like to think I'm pretty proficient in it, but like I said, there's still a lot of people out there that they're making me look like I don't have a clue what I'm doing. So, you know, that's just kind of what I'm using. Guy, I believe you're working in Photoshop on a Wacom. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. This is one of the big Cintiqs, and this is how I probably do 80% of my digital work. I don't actually have my own iPad, but sometimes I'll borrow my daughter's, and and I, you know, definitely there's things that you can do in Procreate more easily than you can in Photoshop. Oh yeah, speaking of daughter, she wanted me to show this off. This is really cool.
Oh,
Oh
that's
yeah.
awesome.
It's all hand drawn. It's not like
So let's see, we got some amanitas going on down here. Neat.
Uh-huh.
And the
Love the
eagle, I love the
texture.
eagle because it looks
Yeah, looks
real when you
great.
zoom in. And it's simple and stylized.
Yeah.
But yeah, the texture is great. You can really get a sense of the froth from the waterfall. Very nice.
it's almost like it's like a cavern because you can see the top part hanging down.
Yeah, or it could be a really like heavy tree branch or something. But yeah, the iPad is obviously a lot more portable, and there's many things about it that are simpler and friendlier than the Wacom. And I have one of the portable Wacoms, and I find that if I have the option of using that or borrowing my daughter's iPad, I'll definitely borrow the iPad. It's just simpler in so many ways. So yeah, I'm liking both technologies. They each have their time and their place.
I will say that as far as like programs for graphic art tablets go, or even just in general for digital design, digital media, and digital drawing, there are a number of different programs out there that are absolutely incredible. I often find myself switching back and forth between programs like Clip Studio Paint or Manga Studio and Procreate, or I'll switch over to PaintStorm and then into Procreate. PaintStorm's kind of, it's got a couple of nice features to it, and I believe it's completely free. But there's a huge learning curve to it because there are a lot of different features and options to it. It's a very in-depth program. It reminds me a lot of Photoshop, but for more of a mobile platform. There's also Autodesk Sketchbook Pro. Highly recommend that for general sketching. You can do multiple layers in it. It's got a couple of really nice features as far as, say, using a French curve or using a ruler to create your straight lines, as opposed to going through and, say, doing the draw and hold to snap it to be a straight line. It's got some really, really nice features to it. Plus, it's got a lot of natural media features, where you can use things such as like a palette knife or a brush or a crayon. You know, your pencils have that graphic pencil kind of a look to them. So they have a lot of very nice natural features. For me, for what I like to do, I just find Procreate's the easiest program to use. But that's my own personal 2 cents on it.
I think that the other thing with Procreate is it's probably just out of all the iOS apps, the most universal. It's going to do the most jobs, you know, the most general. It's definitely going to cover most of your bases, where a lot of these other apps are a little bit more specialized. And so, you know, sometimes you use these other apps to do these specialized things, and then use Procreate to sort of bring it all together.
Yeah, that's almost exactly what I do. Anytime I do any kind of mandala-esque type work or anything that might be a little bit more ornamental, I'm going to jump into another app, do what I have to do there. Perfect example is on where's my drawing programs? So if I go into Clip Studio, um, I haven't actually opened this up in a while. I think I have to log in again too. No, it should be good. But I like the mirroring effects in Clip Studio over the ones that are built into Procreate, simply because you can set it to have as many different lines or segments or areas as you want. And I found personally the trick with that is to go through and stick with you know, divisible integers to create different layers to get, you know, say symmetry here or symmetry there. But by boiling down the number of segments that you have as you move closer to the center, it'll help keep things a little bit more legible, a little bit less confusing, and it's going to make it a lot easier for your eye to pick up and divide out as it expands.
Yep.
Let's see if I can do add a new layer. Actually, we'll just do this. We'll do duplicate layer. There we go. Duplicate layer. So if I was on here, I could always adjust this. Oh, no, we'll just add a new layer. Easy. And if I go into my mirroring tool, number of lines, I can set it all the way up to 16, and that'll create, you know, 16 different segments. You can bring it down. You can even have odd numbers, which I always find to be a little bit more visually interesting.
Yeah,
Say
yeah. I
11
always like
segments.
the 5s and 7s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just find it makes things a little bit easier. I mean, well, not easier, but a little bit more visually interesting.
Less predictable.
Yep. You know, so right there, if I draw that, I now have 11 different segments I can draw in, and it's going to mirror each one of them. Now, let's turn the grid off. So if I'm here, draw that.
Looks like a couple people in the chat room have downloaded it on their phone, and Marcus says he's on an iPad Pro 2020 with Procreate. He downloaded the app; it works perfect. So it's just worth mentioning. Thank you very much for downloading the Reinventing the Tattoo app. And now is a great time to review it too if you're having a good time. We'll take the critiques, but send the reviews to the app stores.
Yeah, if there's anything that you wish you had easier access to, or you're not sure where to find, just let us know. We're still wanting to hear all of your feedback, because we want it to be as enjoyable and easy to use as possible.
We also have got Billy Gunn says hello from Rockford, Illinois.
All right. So I am going to have to step away in a few minutes here. And I would just, I guess, anybody who is actually working on this project, if you wanted to hop on now, I can give you a little bit of feedback, and then I'm going to have to step away. And then, of course, we have one final chance tomorrow morning during Jake's drawing group, although that's early enough that I may still be caught up in my morning stuff. So now is your chance if you want to get some direct feedback from me. Yeah, I'm still just tweaking my shapes.
So yeah, Marcus says, I started tattooing in the 90s. Always be a fan of guys' work. Thanks for the inspiration. Al says, hello from Ireland. Thanks for all your great art, guys. James Jackson says, hello from Augusta, Georgia. Thanks for sharing your insight. I love watching these. Really helps get the brain working and thinking about things differently.
Nice.
And then Chris Hall was asking if anyone is familiar with Paul Calle, Paul Calle, a book called The Pencil.
No.
I was going to say, I can't say that I am. I'm definitely going to look them up. Let me write that down.
I have somebody fired up, but I don't know if they're the right person. So I want to. Oh, we also have from some of the YouTubes, Tez work says they're beaming in from Waco, Texas.
Awesome.
T-Von's
trying to beam in, but he's not sure how his internet connection is going to hold up.
Yes. You know, all I can say, T-Von, is it was like that for me too for the longest time, and then it just gradually got better, even, you know, without me paying more for higher plans. It's just, I think it got competitive, and eventually they buckle and they give people something resembling an actual internet connection. And of course, anyone who posts their exercise in the exercise group, I'll be looking at those. I've been trying to make a point of looking at that group every day since we have been doing this round of stuff. And in the future, that's going to definitely be a place to get feedback when we're doing these multi-day kind of things, or even just, you know, the single day exercises. If you have specific feedback you're looking for, don't be afraid to ask questions and just, you know, come straight out and say, hey, I'm wondering about such and such. Sometimes it's easier for me to give a good critique if you can share with me the things that you're struggling on.
All right, we've got T-Von in the house.
All right, T-Von, how you doing? Survive the holidays okay? Excuse me.
Oh, looks like you might be connecting. There he is. Hey, T-Von.
Hey.
All right. Wow. Check that out. Yeah. So you're basically using those transparent bands as a way of bringing the atmospheric flow in there.
Yeah, I'm still not fully decided if I'm gonna have those actually be in there or not, but yeah, I was like using them like wind bars, kind of.
Yeah. The one thing I'd say is if you're gonna go with those, to vary their width a little bit more, have some that are wider, some that are narrower, some that split, kind of feather out a little bit, so that they just look more natural and less stripy. Yeah, if you don't mind, if you could zoom in a little bit, I'd like to see some of the close-up detail.
I haven't really gotten to detail so much yet, but
yeah, it's detail. I mean, I'm barely on detail myself. Really like the fire. It's not just predictable tattoo fire. It's got some nice turbulence to it.
Yeah, thank you.
I like how you kept the wave really singular and active, you know, focused around that one central point. It's very explosive. Like it.
Yeah.
Is this one of Russ's body templates?
You know, I just grabbed this off of Google, I think.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I used to do it in the past, unless I had a client that I'd photograph for something and they happened to be the right shape.
Timer's about to go off.
And I actually have like the blank female arm is, I think, Sandy's arm. And the timer has just gone off. And so I'm actually going to have to cut out of here. I'm going to just show you guys where I'm at one last time here. Yeah, you know, Jason, if I have any, if I have any final comments, I would say your earthy stuff, if some of those textures had a little bit more focus in them, I think it would bring them out a little bit more.
Awesome.
And then the turbulent stuff in the upper left, those you know, you've limited your range, which is great, but I think you could have a couple key spots where it comes into a slightly lighter gray here and there. But yeah, I like the feel of it. It's the size of the flame is awesome, and I think that keeping that big central flame big and simple like that is preventing it from being a chaotic composition.
Awesome.
So daughter is climbing the walls. So I'm going to hit it. But it's been great hanging with you guys. And yeah, I'm psyched to see what everybody has to show off tomorrow night. And hopefully I'll see you for the latter half of Jake's group tomorrow morning.
That would be great.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Well, cheers, everyone.
Yeah. Take
Cheers, have
care.
fun. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, Jason, that looks cool. I like the like kind of bio-y stuff in the background.
Yeah, you know, it was in there, and I just started doodling in different, you know, almost spiral type shapes, and just kind of mapping out some of the shapes. Next thing I know, I was like, oh wait, this could work well. Let's try this. Oh yeah, that's working great. Let's keep that going. Let's do it a little bit more. I was even playing with maybe doing like a purple overlay, just to kind of bring out some of those oranges and yellows a little bit more. So that way you have color all the way through the composition, as opposed to, you know, going through and just having like a black and gray kind of background. It's just something I was throwing around.
I think it works though. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
It's not quite gray, and I actually think I have the saturation on my webcam turned down a bit. Let's see if I can adjust that a little bit more. Yeah. It's just tricky because with the webcam pointing straight down, it's not like true color.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it looks cool though. I like it.
Yeah, it's coming together. It's been an interesting ride, and you know, I still have a lot of tightening up to do, and a lot of different, you know, tiny little details to add in, maybe some brighter white reflective spots on the waves. Right now I'm just kind of going through and adding in a bit more of this super pale yellow, just to really bring out some of the bright light areas in the flame. You know, to really kind of push the contrast in that, really provide a really super strong light source.
Yeah, I mean, I've been struggling with this one for some reason myself. I don't know. That's why I haven't really put too much time into like rendering it and detailing it at all.
Oh, I mean, trust me, man. You can ask Matt Jackson. We were going back and forth. This is draft number 3 that I've spent over 6 hours on.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No,
I'm pouring time into this project when I probably should be working on a few other things as well. But you know, that's kind of life. This is a final and needs to be done
always
right.
the case.
So
yep.
yeah, man, seeing some of the stuff that you've been rendering out, man, even for just our drawing exercises, has been unreal.
Oh, thank you.
You know, it's like every now and then I know that if I'm really kind of struggling with something, it's like, all right, well, let's see what he's doing. because he can pump this stuff out super fast. So I wonder what he's been up to and what he's been working on. So it's always been a constant source of inspiration.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely was definitely struggling with this design, just fitting all the elements in there together.
Oh, yeah.
These are some other versions that I was toying around with. And actually, I kind of like this one, but I went with a whole different direction. And then there was that one too.
That's nice. I do kind of like those straight line geological crystal shapes.
Yeah, that's what I was toying around with, going straight across, which ultimately led me to doing this, where I have more of a, jagged, I don't know, just random rock shapes rather than something. Initially, I had something that was really flowy and like made like the figure 8 kind of thing, and then yeah, I don't know. I've spent a lot of time on this, and I'm not very far into it, so.
Yeah, well, trust me, we're all right there with you.
Yeah.
I don't know a single person in the drawing group that hasn't struggled with this.
I know, right? It's interesting because it's like what, there's four elements, so it's funny that you have like the, especially on like a back, you got like all this room, and it's like 4 elements. Just, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
it's been fun. It's been fun though.
Me, when I'm designing like full back pieces, large side pieces, full sleeves, things of that nature. For me, my general rule of thumb is you get 2 or 3 elements to really decide that you want in it, and that's it. No more than that. No, I want 1900 million things and I want them all to look great. It's like, no, you get 1, 2, at the most, absolutely most, 3 things that you can put in it. You emphasize those, blow them way up, detail them, and you won't ever be disappointed with the outcome.
Yeah.
But when you start to get into 4 elements and 5 elements, and then trying to integrate all of those different things, that's when things start to really get confusing, and it almost gets to be too busy. It can just really take on way too much of a chaotic feel.
Yeah.
So I always try to personally just limit the number of elements that I'm using. Even Guy was saying, he's like, yeah, I kind of stripped it down, and I'm really kind of focusing on these specific types of things. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, obviously if he's the one that gave us the assignment, then it's like, all right, well, if he's doing that, then I should be in the clear as far as, okay, if I'm really going to emphasize this, I should be fine, right? But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, that wasn't exactly the whole purpose behind it, so where do I really need to put my energy?
Yeah. No, it's been a good exercise though.
Oh, it's been very challenging. And you know what? To me, the more challenging, the better, because it's going to push us all to be better artists.
Yeah, you learn more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not just learning about, say, art. It's taking what we're doing here, and say this was a client that came in that said, hey, I want all 4 elements, designed up as a full back piece. Well, how would we go about doing it? Because I know we would all struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really good practice, and we can bring everything that we learn here back into the studio, and we can apply it down to designing, better tattoos for our clients.
Yeah.
Fun. Hey, Jason, I've got Devin Coley's Instagram fired up here. You want to maybe plug him a little bit for his upcoming drawing session?
I would be happy to.
Cool.
So I met Devin Cooley a couple years ago. I've been going back and forth with him about possibly hopping in and, going over and detailing and outlining his drawing process and how he goes through and decides on the imagery and designs the imagery for some of the tattoos that he does. Super, super clean, phenomenal tattooer. His color palettes are just unbelievable. I've been fortunate enough to get tattooed by him. And his process is super unique as far as, does he use line in areas? Where doesn't he use line?
Nice.
What's his color palette like? We finally figured it out and hammered it out. And if I'm correct, it is Saturday the 30th. Yep. So Saturday the 30th at 5 p.m. I'll be I'll be hopping in a Zoom meeting with him where he's going to walk us through his whole process. How does he go about deciding what he's going to put where? What artistic elements is he going to put his emphasis on? What's his process like? I know he does work both digitally and analog, so I'm gonna obviously ask quite a few questions about that. But super unique, neo-traditional artist. And I'm really, really excited to get him in and just really pick his brain about, what he does, how does he do it, what does he emphasize. It's going to be an awesome session. And that's going to be Saturday the 30th at 5 p.m. And, we haven't set up too much promotion just yet on everything, but there will be other posted announcements to follow.
Yeah, we haven't said anything. We
Cool.
just figured it out 10 minutes ago. We put it up, or I guess it was an hour ago. We put it up. He's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And super nice guy too. Super nice guy. Yeah. He's been a major influence in a lot of the artistic kind of turns that I've had over the past few years. Just everything down to looking at his areas of complexity versus simplicity. Even just looking at that small snakehead jammer right there, I mean, you can look at where does he emphasize those individual scale parts? Where is he keeping very, very simple? How does that interact with everything? How much negative space is he keeping? Just studying some of the work that he does has just really blown my mind. Yeah, I love that one
That's
too.
great work.
Yeah, it's a different twist and a different take on, some pretty common themes, but very unique guy, very unique style, and super talented tattooer. Yeah, there will
Yeah, it's
be
good.
a lot more information to follow and a lot more posts being made about it. Obviously,
Cool.
everyone is more than welcome to attend. As I said, he's been a major influence of mine in my career, and maybe you guys can pick something up from that. Who knows?
Cool. You said that was toward the end of the month, yeah?
Yes, that was Saturday the 30th.
Cool.
I'm actually still trying to work out a few other people to pop in. I was talking to another friend of mine named Casey Hart. She does a lot of very awesome ornamental and like kind of geometric mandala-esque kind of stuff. Super, super clean work. We're still hammering out the details on when we're going to get her in to talk. But once again, I'd just like to go over what's her drawing process like. How does she decide I'm going to put shadow in this part, but not in this part? Especially when you're working with something that's more of an ornamental style design that doesn't really have a very specific line flow or a very specific light source. Sorry. How do you go about putting in something that, where are you going to put your value? Where are you going to create texture and where are you going to keep it more simple? She is absolutely an incredible tattooer and some of the cleanest tattoos I think I've ever seen. But as I said, she's probably going to be, I think we're looking at February to get her in. We still have yet to figure out an exact day and time, but she does a lot of nice stipple work, and the values and whatnot that she can create just by using tiny little dots and lines. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just trying to branch out and trying to get, some people that do different types of stuff. I think I'm a firm believer that by looking at different genres of stuff outside of what we normally do, the only thing that's going to do is help and add to our own skill set. It's going to give us
Yeah,
one more tool in the toolbox. And I
absolutely.
always talk about the hypothetical toolbox of tattoo or art knowledge. And the more tools that you have in there, the more prepared you are for whatever job comes your way.
Yep. It's all about diversity.
Absolutely. Diversity is the key to longevity in tattooing. Well, at least that's what I was told, way back when. You get a lot of people out there that specialize now, and that's awesome. But to me, seeing someone that can go through and do, say, a black and gray rose, that's pretty small and pretty simplistic, and then you can see someone that does a large scale black and gray back piece, with super fine lines and tons of detail and texture, that can turn around and also do something super bold neo-traditional, or something even more traditional than that. When you can see someone that can really stretch their artistic skills, to me, that's incredible. That's showing that, hey, I really can, sit down with whoever it is and provide a really great tattoo for them.
Yeah.
Once again, that's my own 2 cents. It's my own opinion. Some people just like certain styles,
Yeah.
and that's all that they do, and that's more power to them. And they are amazing at what they do. Other people, like myself, I get kind of bored if I could only do one style of tattooing all day.
Totally. I'm the same way. Yeah. I kind of have to switch it up.
Yeah, just to keep my own creative mind going.
Yep.
It's I try to draw and paint as much as I can, both analog and digitally. And my analog stuff is, always trying out something new. It's like, oh yeah, let's do a biomech painting. Cool. So I would sit down and I would, bang out a couple of biomech paintings, and then it's like, all right, well, what don't I have a whole lot of in my portfolio that I really want to show more of? Japanese. Yes, let's do more Japanese work. So I'll dive in and I'll do a whole bunch of, Japanese style paintings. Or okay, cool, that's great. Now let's start working in pencil, because I don't have a whole lot of pencil stuff anymore. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's
You
go in
know,
and we'll build up that part.
So speaking of the Japanese kind of style paintings, I'm going to screen share a couple of posts that came up in the Reinventing community. I think that you've been on some of the calls where Ali's beamed in from Germany,
Yes.
and looks like he posted
Oh
up this
yeah.
final picture here. This is acrylic, but it was
That's
great to
incredible.
watch happen.
I love the atmosphere in that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
it was awesome. I wasn't. I think I don't know if I was aware of his work before or before now, but it's pretty sick. And he did a great German Zoom with. I think he finished his painting off with a German kind of group Zoom, and then this these videos here were pretty cool. This is a Fuzzball 3000. Somebody's been posting up.
Nice.
Yeah. So it just kind of goes through, and it's pretty fun seeing everybody's posts. They This is Sandy's. I don't know if you've seen Sandy's exercise.
That's awesome. I love her use
That's
of line
cool.
in that. Absolutely.
Ah,
Yeah, but it's tons of fun to just to see everybody
dope.
kind of actually participating and posting shit up.
Yeah, dude. Sandy's is rad. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I think she
I get.
really captured the flow of the concept of the assignment, like, to a T.
Yeah. You're showing all this stuff, and it takes me like 20 20 seconds at least to see the images, so I'm like behind to see what you guys are seeing.
Sorry to hear that. I do know the feeling. Sometimes
Well, I mean,
sometimes I listen to 2 or 3 different streams and the replay stream, and I'll be hearing like 4 different things at different times. But
yeah. Well, I could get up and just kind of look at my screen, but then I have to sit back down and.
yeah. So, do you guys want to go on for like another 10 or 20 minutes, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's fine
I'm
for
up for
me.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Sweet.
I'm gonna be working on this probably for another few hours, so.
Cool. Well, for the sake of the program, we'll stream until another 20 minutes, 2:30.
Sounds good to
And
me, man.
Good.
I'm gonna beam in from my phone and start to watch remotely, so I won't be available to screen share in fun artists, but I will try to beam in and try to be funny. No, I won't be funny, but
You're always funny.
hey, that was
Come
funny.
on.
Haha.
I gotta laugh.
Now, this is the part that I'm probably going to find the most difficult out of everything, and that's tightening up this organic texture. And that's mostly because I don't usually do too much organic texture, so I think this is the spot that I've spent the most time on. And I'm
Yeah.
really not that familiar with how to do it, but I'm going to give it a go and just see how it turns out.
I think it's looking good. I think I used to be really like texture and detail oriented, and I mean I still am, but I used to focus so much on that, and I've been like almost dialing it back lately a lot, and working more so on like the overall compositions before I get into any kind of detail.
Yeah, it's one thing
But
that I've personally come across is that when you have things that are way too textured, it can almost make it too busy. But if you
yeah,
focus on your composition first and then you start to develop that,
strategically add the texture and details. Yeah.
exactly. That way it doesn't get too complex too quickly, and then you just end up getting lost in the detail in one spot, but I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone's got their own process and their own way to do things, and more power to them. It's just something that I've personally found I do is just get way too lost in detail.
Yeah.
It took me about 6 or 7 years just to go through and get out of that bad habit where I was like, oh, but I can't move on because this part isn't finished yet. And it's like, well, but if you move on and you start with broad strokes, a huge paintbrush, if you will, and then you start dialing it down and you start refining as you go, adding texture here, a little bit there, starting to add a little bit of detail here and there. A lot of times, and this is something I picked up when I saw Caravaggio painting in Rome a couple of years ago, was I was really looking at where does he create detail? How is he using that to emphasize, certain aspects of, what he's doing? And how does that play into the overall composition of the piece? And what I found was that as Caravaggio was painting, the closer and closer to the center of emphasis that he wanted to get, the more and more detail he would put in. So it was almost like everything outside of what he wanted people to look at was just super broad. Very little detail, just very simple brush strokes, very simple shapes, very simple colors, nothing crazy. And then as you started to draw into, say, a face or a hand or, a book or a candle, that's where all of the detail he would put into his paintings would go. And it absolutely blew my mind because I had never really thought of things in that nature before. So it was an absolutely moving, moment for me. That's kind of when it really hit home. It's like, okay, well, go through and just work on, your broad strokes, figure out where you want to put your emphasis. Once that's decided, then you can start detailing, but don't overload whatever it is you're doing with too much detail because it's just going to get lost. And all
Yeah.
of that time that you put into the detail in certain spots, it's going to end up being useless because no one's going to pay attention to it anyway if it's not in the spot you want to emphasize.
Yeah.
Let's go to Rome and check out those paintings.
So those were actually at the Villa dei Borghesi, which is if you're an EU citizen, it's a free art museum that you can go to. I took probably 400 photos while I was there. Not that, I don't take an enormous amount of photos when I travel anyway, but everything there was incredible. Original Bernini statues, original Caravaggio paintings. I mean, frescoes on every ceiling inside that building. Just unbelievably beautiful, beautiful works of art everywhere. And
you're
it's famous art, man. You can't go wrong with it.
I was gonna say, get ready. I think the next confirmed European trip is for the Brussels Tattoo Convention in November. So it feels like by November, should be able to get vaccinated enough and figure out travel arrangements enough that that might actually seem somewhat realistic. I mean, I guess we'll see. It'd be kind of silly it'd be horrible to look back on this first, our jam prediction of, oh yeah, by November it should be okay, right? And if it's devastating, then it would be silly. But it does feel like, yeah, we should be able to get vaccinated by summer. So maybe traveling to Europe by winter might be actually realistic. But shooting for it. Brussels is a pretty amazing place, and it's a pretty cool convention. So
I've never been there. Never been to Germany actually, but it's on my bucket list of places I want to go.
Brussels is Belgium, but Germany's awesome too.
Sorry.
Cheyenne does the.
Geography's not the best.
It's all good. Cheyenne does I think it's every August, right around the Berlin Tattoo Convention. They have a like a factory tour, kind of artist day, which always looks pretty fun to do.
Maybe that's the one I was thinking of then, was Berlin. I was also talking to a friend of mine that is a tattooer out in Malaysia, and they were telling me that the Rites of Passage show out in Australia and in Melbourne is just incredible. So I was looking at going to that one in December. We'll see what happens, and I'm not booking any tickets just yet for anything.
Sure.
Because I'm not trying to go that route and then end up not being able to travel there. So just kind of waiting to see what happens before I start deciding, okay, I've got this going on, this one I want to do, this one I want to do, this is where I want to go for this one. I've worked one or two international shows, which were awesome, but I find the trick to those is just promotion. You have to do a lot of heavy promotion in that area in order to really stay pretty busy.
Or
Especially
know
if it's
people,
not, or know people, or already have that kind of an international reputation where you can go anywhere and you can do whatever show you want. I myself am still trying to work on that, and try to get my name out there that much, but we'll see what happens.
trying to.
What about you,
I think.
Devon? Do you travel a lot? Do you work at different shows?
I was actually just starting to get into traveling, and I've been to one Hell City, and other than that, I went and worked at one other smaller convention here in California. Yeah, I was getting pretty excited about doing that, so kind of bummed out, but
You're in California? Is that what you just said?
yeah, I'm in California.
Whereabouts?
Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa.
It's about
We're
45 minutes north of San Francisco.
okay.
Yeah.
What was the convention I hit out? There was the Sacramento one, fucking years ago. Holy shit, fucking
Ah.
forever ago. Full on HA show. My daughter must have been like 2 years old or 3 years old. She was really young,
Hmm.
and I think that might have been the tattoo convention that Nick Baxter and Adrian Dominic met. I'm sure it was. And
You don't remember what it's called?
Sacramento, something Rose maybe.
Hmm.
Sacramento. I don't know. It was like it must have been. I don't even remember. They were probably 12 years ago. Well, if Cecilia's 18, it was 16 years ago probably. It was before Adrian moved out to Connecticut and worked with Nick. Because like I said, that was the first time that they kind of met, and Nick tattooed like a key maybe on Dominic's chest, Adrian's chest, and they became friends. And fucking Adrian moved out and fucking became a monster himself. Fucking, it was fun. Yeah. I was also very much like, I'm gonna get my, I don't necessarily, I don't mind HA shows, but I don't necessarily want to bring my daughter, right? Like, raging around there. But that was fun. Lou Jacques was the other fellow that I was out there with. I saw. Jason, you'll appreciate this. Maybe I got to see New School Tattoo that trip.
What?
That's when I went out to see. It was Paco and Adrian's shop.
Yep.
And Adrian wasn't there, but I got to spend an afternoon with Paco. And
Paco's
I did
Neat?
Yeah. No. Paco.
Paco Excel.
Paco Excel. Yes.
Hmm.
And they own the shop together. I think. I don't necessarily even know. All I know is that I fucking was going to go see the shop, and the bong hits I did at the end of our meeting. I've been used to some pretty good weed. I smoked a lot of pretty good weed, but like I was like, whoa! I was on a fucking rocket ship, and my wife had to kind of take care of me a little bit, which doesn't happen very often on the weed, but it was happened that time. That was a fun trip.
Yeah, late over the past few years, I've been sticking mostly to East Coast shows just because that's where I'm located. And I'll hit the Baltimore show. I'll do the Philly show every year, mostly just because that's my home crowd.
Sure.
But
Right.
I've been trying to the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention.
Yeah. Huge.
And it's absolutely enormous. Out of every show that I've ever even attended, which I like to think is an okay number. I've attended some international ones in Rome, Paris, London, Ireland, and Dublin. I have never in my life ever encountered another show that is on the scale of Philadelphia. Ever. It is unbelievably gigantic. I forget what the actual total number was last year, but I know they had somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think it was 2,000 artists and vendors there.
Yeah. It's fucking.
It was ridiculous. They had over
Huge.
1,000 booths.
Yep.
And it's just unbelievable. Just the volume of people that show up to it from all over. You'll get people that drive down from Connecticut for the weekend, people that drive down from New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, a couple of guys that come up from Georgia, Florida, all over the US to work it. It's absolutely massive. And, the turnout every year is unbelievable as well. I mean, you're looking at, 30,000 people over the course of a long weekend. It's huge, absolutely astronomically huge. And, it's always a great time, but it is in Philly, and people in Philly do tend to get a little bit weird sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of weird people. You said 30,000 weird people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just perfect example is a couple of years ago. I remember it was I think it was the Thursday night before the show opened on Friday. And the convention organizer always partners up with a couple of local hotels for people to stay in. I was staying at one of the Hilton hotels right near the convention center, and probably 11:30 at night. Nothing, crazy. I'm just sitting in my room working on some drawings for appointments. Next thing I know, the fire alarm goes off and we have to evacuate the entire building. And, so I'm like, all right, well, just put my iPad to sleep, get my coat, walk downstairs. I'm like, all right, whatever, smoke break. Cool. Yay. Everyone else was filing out as well. They had to clear the entire building, every room. The fire department showed up. It was an absolute mess. We're all standing outside in the bitter cold, thinking to ourselves, all right, who did what? Did someone pull a prank? What's going on? Like what's this about? Turns out someone had either a little too much to drink or a little too much of something else and decided to try to set their mattress on fire.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, the night before the convention even opened. Never, I don't think anyone ever heard from that guy again. From what I understand, he was arrested, banned from working at that show, and I think he was actually sent home the next day.
I'm
And
sure
I'm
he
not
was.
sure
He
if that
better
was
have been.
from the local government or, the convention organizers or whatever, but it was, and that the show hadn't even started yet. It's like, dude, at least wait until Friday night. At least wait until Friday night. Let us get a good night of sleep in so that we can at least bang out a few decent tattoos on Friday.
I appreciate the fact that we put I put the Paradise shows out in the middle of fucking nowhere. They're very hard to find. They're definitely pilgrimages. And there's always an asshole or two that'll get out anywhere, but they really do get identified pretty quickly. And often at this point, usually before someone's even super disrespectful, the rest of their shop is like, dude, fucking calm the fuck down. And they're like, I haven't been drunk in 3 years. And they're like, we're gonna send you on a fucking car ride home right now because you can't do this here. And it's pretty crazy. Everyone, can actually, like, it's not like there's no party and people party, but it's a different focus. And and again, it's a different scale. Like, Philly's like it's like a couple massive towns of people going through there. Twice the amount of people that live in my town go through there. And
Absolutely.
it's that's crazy. It's fun. London's pretty would be, I think, has my vote for kind of largest favoritist, although Hill City is pretty badass too. I mean, I love Hill City too. I mean, all the best conventions are all just different flavors of sick ass conventions.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. See, when I was coming up, I got some really good advice from a very good tattooer when I was a lot younger, when I was first coming up in the industry. And they said, one thing you want to remember is when you start working shows is that you're there and you're not only representing yourself and who you are as a human being, you're representing the studio that you work for. If it's an international show, you're representing the country that you come from, and you're also a representative of the style of tattooing that you do.
Oh yeah.
Who do you want? Who do you want to see, and what do you want them to see when they look at you? If this was, if you're going out there and you're partying your ass off and, being that guy, then do you really want other artists to see that? And especially if you're in a foreign country, what kind of a message is that sending about what tattooers are like where you're from?
Yeah,
And
no,
I
there's
kind of took
definitely
that to heart.
a responsibility to always be, putting your best face forward. Always at the end of the day, leaving a better place, right? Better, more positive, pretty mark. The for as a convention promoter, you can suss out pretty quick, the people that are there to contribute to the event or to the spirit of what's going on, and the people that are there to take, am I going to get my, am I going to get my hotel and flights covered? Am I going to be booked making $1,200 a day every day? Compared to the people who are, what if we do this or that, or, how could we, again, even if it's just showing up and being cool and tattooing on awesome people, and bringing people that's, contributing, of course. But again, you could tell somebody's intentions of if they're there to, again, to take from it or to give to it. And when you get a whole convention full of people that are, awesome and intend to contribute, it really is pretty fucking crazy how fun it could be. Oh man, I'm dying to throw on a fucking convention again someday.
Yeah, I miss shows, man. I really miss them. I miss like even just the social atmosphere there, getting to meet and talk to other tattooers and just figure out what people are doing. That it's one thing I loved about going to different shows. Even if I wasn't working at them, I would just attend them and just talk to different people, gain some knowledge just by watching different people work, and kind of take whatever I learned there and take that home. It was always a great time.
So T-Von, which Hell City did you get to? What was that like?
It was what was it, 2 years ago, I think. It was let's see, it was just before the bio encyclopedia was released in Ohio.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who'd you meet? Tell us about it. What was the stories?
Oh, I mean, I pretty much went there because a guy was doing this seminar, which was really cool. And yeah, and I had been to Ohio once, almost a year before that, for the what was it, the Ohio Bio Show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Nathan Marty and Nicole Elise.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
That's always a great show. Derb always, I think I always end up seeing it through Derb's feed, among other feeds.
yeah.
And, I'm trying to think. So if you did, if Guy was doing a seminar at Hell City, I should have been there.
I think that I did actually meet you. I think that I remember seeing you there.
Ah, fantastic. Hopefully I wasn't a jerk.
No. No, I mean everybody I met was really, really nice. It was kind of intimidating just because it was like the biggest convention I'd been to, but it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell City is huge. The might not necessarily be the largest in the number of people or tattooers, but certainly it's impeccable lineup every year.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I have to hand it to Derb for is, his constant emphasis on quality over quantity.
Yeah.
He's not going to let someone work at that show that's not fully qualified to work at it.
Yeah, and he always gets new people though too.
Mm-hmm. And there, you get other convention promoters and convention organizers that are all about, oh, hey, yeah, man, if you can afford a booth, absolutely. Go ahead. Oh, who are you? Joe the plumber? Yeah, cool. We'll give you a booth. Oh, what do you do? General contracting? Totally fine. We'll stick you in between this guy and this guy. It's not, when you get into that point, it's like, all right, are you out just to make money, or are you actually here trying to promote the craft? It makes you wonder.
So sorry, I was just hopping on the chat room here. Bartek says, hi T-Von, hi guys, always on time, haha. Just watching on the YouTubes.
Yeah, the YouTubes have been very, very nice to us.
Yeah, YouTube's good. We're just about to launch the official Reinventing YouTube channel, and it'll be fun. We're like kind of doing it from scratch. I mean, we are doing it from scratch. It's like a brand new YouTube channel, and so it's a good opportunity for us to kind of like try to do our best from scratch and see what kind of momentum we could build by like coming out of the gate with a channel that like starts off with high quality streams like all the time regularly, and we'll see. But
Yeah.
cool. So it's 2:35. Let me run through and feature both you guys, and I'll feature T-Von first, and then let Jason close it out here.
Cool.
Okay.
Hmm.
You know, I am gonna convert over to my other phone here before we do this.
Cool. Cool. Awesome. Hey, Bartek.
Okay, T-Von, you're in the spotlight.
Hey.
You want to let people know where you're at and how to get a hold of you, what you're up to, what you're interested in, and
Oh.
ultimately how to contact you.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Tvon_Krieger, and I am in Santa Rosa, California, and I'm not tattooing at the moment, unfortunately. But hopefully sooner than later I will be.
And if people want to book back pieces, are they available? Or
Yeah, I mean, people can get a hold of me for sure, but yeah, I'm not. I actually haven't been working in a shop for about a year now, for various reasons. But hopefully, when the ban here lifts, I am hoping to get back to work.
sweet. So
Yeah.
it would be getting on like the wait list.
Yeah.
Do you sell original art and stuff, or how's that all work with your
Yeah.
workflow?
I'll do commissions. Yeah. You was free to give me a call or a message, anyways.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put you on, Jason.
Cool.
And then after you're good, then I'll probably just do a little clip about the upcoming events to close out.
Awesome. So I'm Jason Leeser. In case anyone didn't, is just tuning in. Been a tattooer for about 10 years now. I'm working in Southampton, PA at the Inkwell Tattoo. Love that place. Work with a ton of great different guys. If anyone's trying to get a hold of me or reach out to me, I always have commissions for sale and all different types of original artwork. If anyone wants to reach out, you can reach me at Philly Inc. It's all one word on Instagram. And if you go there and you click on my Linktree link, it'll give you all the different ways to get a hold of me for just about anything. If you ever need to get a hold of me for an appointment or just send me a DM on Insta. Works pretty well, and I'm on Instagram all the time. Well, whenever I'm not, elbow deep in a tattoo. So yeah, if anyone wants to get a hold of me, more than welcome to. Feel free to, and I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for thank you very much for hosting these every Sunday at 1:00. And while we're here, if people are still watching to the very end, I would like to go over our upcoming schedule. This is a screen share of our community. So if you go to community.reinventingthetattoo.com or either of the mobile app stores, you can download the mobile app and check out the event schedule. It has loads of streams just like this, some that you can join, some that are participatory, some that are just straight up shows, maybe with a little bit of chatting. But yeah, we've got drawing groups every Sunday at 1 o'clock, every month with Jason, every Monday morning at 9 a.m. with Jake Meeks, excuse me, and Monday mornings 9 o'clock. It's awesome way to start off every week. Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 7 to 9, just before the subscriber exercises. Renee Little has an art jam at her Oklahoma shop, and we will beam in. So it's a great way to warm up, like I was saying, for the 9 o'clock Reinventing subscribers exercise, exclusively for people who subscribe to Reinventing. It's awesome. It's the group exercises. You get Guy Aitchison leading. Sometimes there's amazing guests, and everyone's getting better every week. It's amazing. Well worth the subscription. That happens every Monday night. We've got Tuesday at 1, a machine building panel. Tony Urbanik, Dave Jamo, sorry, my bad pronunciation, from Veritas Irons. He's been building great machines forever. Carson Hill is going to be on. He's got a new round with the Numas, and Guy will be there moderating, and who also has a new coil machine. And Guy was also actually part of the research that was done for those Numas with all of the different machines. It's going to be a great discussion. 1 o'clock Eastern, Tattoo Machine Madness. Well, if people dig it, maybe we'll do a machine panel every month. Okay, Tattoo Collecting Podcast every Thursday at noon. Jordan and Fawn talk to tattoo collectors about tattoo collecting. It's amazing for just people curious about tattoos to learn about tattoo collecting. It's also great for tattooers to catch the tattoo collecting perspective. And yeah, they can talk for a while about tattoos if you like it. It's full on every Thursday at noon. And so yeah, if you go to the library section, you can find the replays of all of this. You can just explore. You can take the tour of the app. Thanks for watching this to the end. Let us, share it around. Let us know that you watched so that we'll keep making them. Thanks again, everyone.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers.
Take care, everyone.